What's going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, Geo Fucks here. And this is a self-accountability video for myself and, maybe others out there that are dealing with the same things that I'm dealing with and that I'm learning and healing from and working on. Maybe this can be of use to you as well. But shout out to Simply Said. Simply Said YouTube channel and Simply Said has been saying 2022 needs to be about you. And it's the truth. It's the truth. I agree with Simply Said. Because once again, on this self-care journey, on this self-accountability, right? There comes a time where you got to get some self-respect about yourself, right? You feel me? You got to start respecting yourself. You have to start loving yourself. You have to start caring about yourself. And to me, this is kind of going into the whole level up. You hear a lot of people talking about they're leveling up, right? And it's the level up movement and it's the boss up game or I'm manning up, whatever terminology you are comfortable with using, you use. Okay, there's so many different terminologies just to say that you want better for yourself, so you're going to do the work to make yourself better. Okay, so again, in this self-care, leveling up, whatever terminology you want to use, whatever phrase you want to use, by all means, use it. In my self-care journey, my self-accountability, leveling up journey, I'm going into year 4. I started this in August, like basically summer 2018. So, I'm going into year 4. And for me, I've had to try to do therapy and counseling and healing and working on self while also affirming my gender, transitioning, living my truths, out the closet, while also working a job, trying to be there for family, help family, while also living in a pandemic, etc. So I recognize for self, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate to this. This is hard, right? And it isn't, this is why I'm always saying it's not some overnight success. It's not some linear approach. This is a lot of, twists and turns, ups and downs, setbacks, pauses, fall off track, mistakes, problems. There's some successes. There's some upward mobility, but that's just it. It is a constant. It's not something that just boom, poof, overnight. I can rub the genie. I can rub the bottle and the genie come out and give me 3 wishes and boom, boom, boom. I'm self-cared. I'm healed. It doesn't work that way. At least not for me. It has not worked like that at all for me. So I'm getting to the point now in my self-care journey where self-respect has to be there, because in that self-awareness and being able to reflect, if I would have had self-respect about myself, there's a lot of situations, even a situation that I did this past weekend, keeping it a buck, being transparent, keeping it real, keeping it 100, right? There's situations that I would have never put myself in, because again, if I cared about myself, like actually cared about myself, no, this isn't good. I'm out, right? So I've gotten better, but I still have setbacks. I still have issues, but I have gotten better, but I need to be better, right? Because it gets to a point where, okay, accepting mediocrity for self is not self-respect. Accepting mediocrity for self over and over and over and over and over and over again becomes a habit. And pretty soon you have a habit of low expectations, low standards, and mediocrity. Okay? And you got to work to break that habit. And that's what I'm doing for self, right? And we got to get some self-respect to it. And the reason I'm bringing this up, again, on Twitter, I like Twitter a lot. You see people tweeting constantly about, well, if y'all would date people that actually liked you. And then, again, and as much as people talk about, a lot of what we do ultimately comes back to the relation, in my opinion, it comes back to the relationship you have with self. So I have a bad relationship with myself. So I'm not surprised at the relationships that I form with other people also being negative or not being healthy, because I don't have a healthy relationship with myself, which I'm learning through my gender affirmation and healing to love me. And that's why, and I'm not saying that you can't date or be in a relationship while healing. Do what works for you. I know for me, I have to love on myself, care on myself, respect on myself before I can go dibbing and dabbing with other people. And I'm recognizing I want to have a deep love and respect for self, for me. For me, myself, and I, because, again, that's what it's about. And then to me, when people talk about leveling up, for me, I want to become the healthiest version of myself. And for me, that accomplishes a lot. Like, my mental health, my physical health, my financial health. There's so many things to it. And yeah. So for me, leveling up is getting myself together, and I do believe in this because I'm seeing it work. When you care about yourself and you start moving, once you start caring about yourself, you start moving differently. It is what it is. I've been moving. I still make mistakes. Like I said, this past weekend, again, I can keep it a buck. I can keep it 100. I still make mistakes. I still fumble. You feel me? But I'm recognizing, again, you instantly feel bad afterwards. So it's like, okay, I'm tired of that feeling. So let me stop getting to that feeling. Let me stop what I'm doing that leads to me feeling that way. So, yeah. Self-accountability, being accountable, being responsible, being disciplined, being focused on the level up, right? So that's what I'm doing, because I've noticed because of the work that I've been doing on myself, nearly 4 years, come this summer, August in particular, but definitely come this summer, it'll be 4 years. And the work that I've been doing, I could be doing better, right? And I know that. So that's me knowing that. So I know I got to go better, harder, stronger, serious, have to be more about it. But I've noticed for self, because I move differently. A lot of shit that I was doing 4 years ago, I don't wait for what, because I realized at that time I was people pleasing. I was seeking outside validation 24/7. I didn't care about myself at all. I still don't really truly fully care about myself, but I care about myself more and more and more as I affirm my gender, as I'm healing. And it's different, right? Like, I see myself in a totally different light than where I saw myself 4 years ago. And that's real. But leveling up, people always want to talk about they leveling up. Now I'm about to I'm about to transition, if you will, Well, I have transitioned, no pun intended. But now let's get to these relationships. Again, and this is just keeping it a buck, right? This is just me keeping it a buck with myself. So when I'm talking, I'm also including myself in this, right? And I'm gonna do a separate video on this too. But ask yourself, why would somebody want to date you? Really, why should somebody want to date you or be in a relationship, whether that's platonic, romantic, what have you? Why should somebody want you in their life? Ask yourself that, because when I think about leveling up, I'm also thinking about, again, because people always talk about, well, if you carry yourself this way, you would have better quality people coming to talk to you, which I do believe is true, because when you level up, you do stop hanging around certain people because you realize it is what it is. We have nothing in common. You're not where I want to be in life. And what we're doing is a negative or is a downgrade. Let's just keep it real. And you recognize, if you want certain people of certain stature, whether that's for platonic, romantic, business, what have you, then you are going to have to change some things about yourself or improve some things about yourself. And then for me, 2022 is about you, as Simply Said YouTube channel says. It really is, because this will be my third year or third decade of life if I make it to October. You know, ancestors willing, Lord willing, universe willing, right? I'm about to be 30. So for me, I'm looking at it like, who the hell wants to be having a repeat of their 20s? I personally do not want that, okay? Been there, done that, okay? Got burned enough, okay? So I'm realizing, like, okay, you had low self-esteem. You've been struggling with low self-esteem. Work on it, because you're about to be 30. You can't keep sitting up talking about because it gets old. And it is old. Either you're going to make some changes or you're not. And that's what I'm telling myself. Either I'm going to make changes or I'm not. So after a while, it's just an excuse, especially when you have resources. You have access to things, to do things differently. When you have these things that are available to you and you're constantly, not taking advantage of the opportunity that's presented to you, to the resources, to the information, to the knowledge, then whose fault is it, right? Because you get stuck, and after a while you have that victim mentality all the time. And I'm not saying that things weren't done to me that was just effed all the way up, like the trauma and everything. This is true. And I've been stuck in this woe is me victim mentality because of the trauma for years. And it's old. I'm tired of repeating the same cycles. I'm tired of dealing with the same shit. You feel me? So that's why now I can say for self, I have to make changes. I have to be about it. I have to get a routine and stick to the routine. I have to want these things for me. I can't keep sitting up talking about woulda, coulda, shoulda, or this happened to me and that happened to me and don't nobody do this and don't nobody understand and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's been 10 plus years of that. You about to be 30. Are you going to do another 10 plus years, or are you going to do something different? So that's where I'm at. You feel me? That's where I'm at personally. So again, self-care, leveling up, bossing up, manning up, womaning up, whatever terminology or phrase you use, you improving yourself or you want something better for self, it's going to be sacrifices. It's going to be a lot of, in my lived experiences, it's been a lot of sleepless nights. It's been a lot of depression. It's been a lot of sadness. It's been a lot of isolation. It's been a lot of breakthroughs. It's been a lot of first times, finally being able to do things that I've always wanted to do, but I just never got to do because of various reasons. It's been a lot of overcoming. It's been a lot of, building of character, building strength, and, you know, you building confidence. Like, I'm building confidence. I'm building self-esteem. I'm doing things that, like I said, 4 years ago, if you would have told me that, well, first of all, 4 years ago, if you would have told me we'd be in a pandemic for 2 years and like be going through all this shit, I would have never fathomed that. And but and in addition to, I definitely wouldn't have thought I would have been able to finally live my truths and be who I am outwardly. So it's a lot. So I don't want to sit up here and make it seem like it's just all negative. It's just all bad. But when you're going through shit, you're going through shit. And I don't want to sit up here and sugarcoat. And I don't do that toxic positivity shit. It is what it is. I don't do that. I'm gonna, people always want to talk about, oh, well, you need to express your feelings better. You gotta communicate them. Okay, and then when people do, y'all have a problem. So stop. That's another video in itself. Is because in therapy, I'm learning. Another reason why I never, not ever really was able to convey emotions, because in my household, we didn't convey emotions. It was anger. It was, no, the emotions, I'll put it like this. It's not that we didn't show emotion. It was certain emotions. And when you decided to say, well, this is why I'm hurt, or this is why I feel this way, or this is why I did what I did, you are instantly getting shut out, shut down, shut up, don't nobody care, blah, 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 blah. So I learned very early on, don't nobody care about your feelings. You feel me? I learned that very, 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 very early on. And then being bullied and, treated like shit, basically Kate through, well, I got a break when I went 4th grade, when I got the hell up out of Flint, Michigan. So Kate through 4th grade, and more so 1st through 4th grade, and then 7th through 10th grade. Those were some very, Jesus, treacherous times. I probably would do videos discussing little things. Because I just sit back and I'm like, oh, character building? This was horrifying. If your character is being built by oppression and being treated like shit 24/7. That is not a good way to start life. That is not a good way to build confidence. That's not a good way to build self-esteem. That's not a good way to build self when that's how you're being introduced. But anyways, as we do this leveling up, this self-care, whatever you want to call it, these are what I'm working on. So I just wanted to be transparent and let y'all know what I've been doing. And again, I agree with Simply Said. 2022 need to be about you. And especially to the demographic that Simply Said is advocating for, I totally agree. I'm just going to go on and say it. For women, for feminine people, 2022 needs to be about you. Because again, you got to stop being second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh fiddle in your own life. You got to start prioritizing yourself. You got to start loving yourself. You got to start respecting yourself. You got to start caring about yourself. Okay? And this isn't to say that you can't do for others, but if you can't take care of you, you're not going to be able to take care of nobody else. Okay? So let 2022 be about you. I'm out.